Alright, so the theory is your brain processes thought. Before you do anything, you think about it. While you do it, you're thinking about it. And after, you have the choice to think about it through memory. And it's just somewhere in your mind, in your subconscious, that memory sits. Some things you do so often you don't generally think about them, like breathing, but they're being processed through thought in your subconscious. So anything you understand is interpreted by your own individual perception. So no object, thing, or individual is the same to two people or more based on thought. Like my blue dresser. If we went into my room and you or us three were asked to define that or explain it, I would first think about when I was a kid, I'd get angry and draw on it, and I keep my clothes in that, I keep my personal objects in it. Solomon, he might think something different, Ira keeps I don't know, in there, you know what I mean? Or he could say it's blue and it's square, but he thinks of it differently than anyone else, because no one really knows what everyone else is thinking.
Yeah, it could be that's where I come in and put my backpack down or whatever.
Yeah, when we hang out. Or Maria comes in there and she's just oh, that's a blue dresser. Sometimes when I'm there, I put my arm on it all the time, that's that one blue dresser that I tripped and fell on, you know? Mm-hmm. Everyone thinks about it differently, but it's still just being thought of. Mm-hmm. So, really what it comes down to is the only thing that is real is your brain. And what your perception is, your brain is thinking through.
Every object you see has a different meaning to you than to someone else because of your previous experience with that object.
Yeah, or
no experience.
Or no experience, yeah. Oh, that's just a chair. But someone might have experience with that chair. Nothing in the world is really the same to anyone through thought. So, nothing is real.
Oh.
Good. So, the world is an ecosystem, right?
Yeah.
Society is an ecosystem. You might think of yourself as just one person, like you are Maria, but really there's multiple components working together.
It's cells, bacteria, and other things that create a system that can support itself.
Yeah, so they create you. So
every person is
an ecosystem, really, and society is an ecosystem. Society gives people roles to play.
Producers, consumers.
Yeah, it gives them reason to live, to benefit themselves, working selfishly, but in the end working selflessly, working for someone so things can happen, you know what I mean? So yeah, you guys can talk about that.
So every person has a place, an ecosystem.
Yeah.
And
you can either be a good addition to an ecosystem or bad or just neutral.
But one cannot exist without good there won't be bad, and without bad there won't be good.
So you have to have all the parts to make it.
It's like cells and bacteria. Bacteria is not good, but you can't.
But the cells, they're good. They deplete the bacteria. So
yeah.
Like a criminal and a cop.
Yeah.
Good, bad.
Yeah.
Without a criminal, a cop wouldn't have a job.
Yeah, and without a cop, a criminal would still have a job, but
then there'd be.
But then there'd just be chaos.
Yeah.
In the world, we kind of strive for order, I guess, in every daily life.
And there's also neutral, which
there's neutral things like cashier, like janitor. We don't need a janitor. We could clean up by ourselves. You know what I mean? But still,
we don't.
But we don't because we choose not to. It's easier. A lot of times we just take the easy way out. But yeah.
And then.
That's it, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
So how does a person decide where to be in an ecosystem?
Oh yeah. So how does a person decide where to be in an ecosystem? Through their whole experience so far in life, up to college, I guess you could say, or a different point. They could choose the point in their life.
Yeah.
Just them following their personal goal until they get to a point where they can actually pursue that goal, and that
Yeah.
point can be.
And that
And that goal is based off like things that they love or things that they maybe even hate, like just through
or
experience.
by other people,
Or yeah, or it's influenced by other people.
society.
Society. And yeah.
In ecosystems, there's a lot of different parts. Those parts are, again, like producers and consumers. There's people that make food for a living. There's people that use food to make other things for a living that will help other people.
And it's all like
It's all
an
connected.
economical flow. You know, money is like
Yeah.
based on everything
Yeah.
really, and that the government relies on the economy, and the economy relies on the consumer, which is us. So.
And from that whole system, this theory called emergence comes out. Emergence is where this intelligence, this greater purpose, comes from a lot of less intelligent parts. Not to say that people are stupid, but that like for example, an ant colony is a really good example. One ant by itself can't really do much. It's kind of helpless, but with a whole colony, they have like these farm areas and caretakers and builders and all these different parts.
The queen.
And the queen produces more ants.
Yeah.
And so it kind of makes this whole like single organism that is much more capable at surviving and making this product that's
Yeah, and just
kind of
striving
amazing.
throughout life, you know.
And people are they're kind of an example of that. People have more control over their own actions, but society as a whole usually in different cultures generate these different things that would be impossible to create by one person. There are these group efforts to make these really kind of powerful things.
So in
Greater
every
things.
place it's different.
Yeah, like in every, like here, do you want to explain that?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So, if I still lived in Russia, I would have different goals, different beliefs about everything. You know, different philosophy because, for example, you know, in Russia, people don't approve of gay people, and you know, maybe if I still lived there, if my family still lived there, maybe I would still think that way. You know. And so, and it just affects your beliefs and your, you know, journey in life. So.
Yeah, and maybe like the expectance from the general area, like Russia. You know, everyone has different expectations.
Yeah.
Like, there's like maybe more or less independence there, like the school systems, or like you would never even been to GIA.
Yeah.
You know, like you wouldn't be having this conversation.
I would be a different person.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
So.
Yeah, and those, like the different cultures that arise from different situations in the world, like different geography.
Yeah. No,
Like-
and changing cultures can really affect, you know, the way you think and on life,
Yeah.
and the way like you can have both. Like some beliefs I still kept, and some American, you know, came. So it's like a mix.
Whereas
The Americas is a better example.
the American, okay, go for America.
Yeah.
So you got it.
America was colonized greatly by European cultures, not originally, but much earlier. Native Americans were here and they had their own cultures and own ideas about life, and then Europeans came in and the whole idea has been changed a lot of America. It's a different picture now.
Yeah, they weren't given the chance that Europeans got, you know, to go through the whole process of going from like, I guess, savage people who live off land to like industrial, and then you know, to modern
Even-
technology.
Yeah, even though society does make a lot of more problems than it solves, just with
Yeah.
those added expectation and
Yeah, like if you thought of
For
every
sure.
problem you had, at least like 50 or at least 70% would be like bridging off of society. But if you thought about just going away, you know, into the wild, like think of human condition as living for yourself, all those problems are gone.
you
The
would
only
just have to
thing
worry about survival, food
yeah,
and water.
just survival, just food and water, you know, like staying alive. you could go anywhere, you could live anywhere, you could do what you want, act how you want.
Yeah,
It's
but
a lot
that's
simple,
you can only do that without society.
way more simple way of life. Exactly.
But without society, you also lose emergence, like greater, like culture. You lose culture and all these other ideas that come from it. So it's kind of, you need a balance. Almost.
Yeah, a balance between two. So basically, human condition is all based off of
Order and disorder
order,
combined.
disorder, experience, and even opinion, and just how you yourself live, but also thinking about how you like
As an individual, affect the rest of the
Yeah.
ecosystem.
affect the rest of
So,
society.
You
Yeah,
decide for yourself, so your mind decides everything.
but there is a part that will decide for you.
Yeah,
The
that will
society
affect
part.
you.
But yeah, it'll affect you. So it's
That's
up to
probably
you and society.
And you're the society.
Yeah, you really are the society. It's just awareness through numbers, like emergence. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's flaws and there's benefits, but I was gonna say benefactors. But yeah, there's flaws and there's benefits, and yeah, it's really all how you deal with it.
Deal with what's given to you through
Yeah.
the situation.
Deal the cards that you're dealt. Yep. That is human condition. So this is just a little diagram that I created that I guess you could use to think about everything we've talked about. So if you were starting at the self, you know, you're going on a journey, and through that journey you're looking for purpose, right? And you're looking for meaning. And once you find meaning, you gain the strive to go on, like through everyday life. And once you find like your journey and your meaning, you know, you gain some insight. And then through purpose and insight, that's knowledge. Through insight and the strive to go on, that is your direction in life. And through knowledge and direction, you know, you find basically, I guess you could say, your meaning to life.